Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here, of course, with Sean Bell,
Hello.
of course, with Matt Murray,
You're right.
and of course, not with James Farley. He's off again, still taking his cut of the Patreon money. That is still going straight in his pocket. He's doing fuck all work for it. But instead, we're very happy to have amongst us Pete Donaldson from the Football Ramble podcast and other things. See, I asked you how you wanted to be introduced. You told me,
That's
and
all
I
right,
couldn't do
yeah.
it.
Football
Football Ramble, lots of
etc.
stuff. Yeah,
FL.
all kinds of stuff. I'm all over the place. I'm in your walls. I'm behind your bins. Oh,
How you doing, Pete? Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's been it's been a long 12 hours waiting for this show to actually start because I thought it was a morning record because I've only ever listened to the show on Spotify on the old audio. And I'd never actually watched it on YouTube. Then I noticed that Sean was drinking a beer, and I was like, "This is an early time to be drinking a beer. Surely they don't record at 7 a.m. Yeah, they don't record at 7 a.m. They record at 8:30 in the evening where normal people do stuff."
Yeah, but when I looked at the message I sent you, I didn't quite make it clear what half of the day we were recording.
No, we are, because I am terrible at admin at my company. They are sticklers for the 24-hour clock. They and calendars, and they've kind of like panel beaten me into submission when it comes to telling people where I'm supposed to be at any time. So
So that happened to me once. I was asked to be. I think it was a Dutch show. I can't remember what the podcast was, but I was asked to be on the show, and I said, "Yeah, I'm up for that." I don't go on other podcasts much because not many people want me on there. So I was quite flattered until I was driving to work, and my phone started ringing, and the guy was like, "Where are you?"
oh, right.
I'm in my car going to work now. He went, right, you're supposed to be on my podcast. You said you'd be on my podcast. I was like, fucking hell, man. I thought that was like at 8 o'clock tonight, not now. So we've all been there, is what I'm saying.
Right,
we've all
okay.
been there. It's an easy mistake to make, especially when the host isn't clear enough. Although I did we were talking on Saturday, and I thought, Pete's coming on. I'll send you all the information, and then it just hit me that France, Austria are playing in the Euros now, and are we? I was waiting for you to go. Yeah, I didn't realise that actually. So
Well, I mean, so
tomorrow.
tomorrow on the Football Ramble, I think I'm hosting, and if Peter's hosting, Pete doesn't have to know anything about the football. If indeed I ever did, because I just ask people questions. So who have we got on tomorrow? We've got Andy Brassel. We're fine.
Nice.
He's an absolute brainiac when it comes to football,
yeah.
so it's absolutely fine. So,
Well,
yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was like how E3 shows then, and you have to avoid all the matches, and people have to tell you what happens.
Yes.
And then they just set a few lies in there.
It was
Austria
17-1.
Which actually I'm sure we'll come to, but the lie we told on last week's show to Ellie, I don't know if you heard it last week. Ellie avoided all the news from the announcements over the last weekend, and we told her a cheeky little lie, and we may have tricked quite a few of our listeners into an announcement of some new hardware. But before we get to that, I would like to shout out our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Rocketman76, Smooth Monkey, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Sam Higton, Tom S, Stan, Philip with an F, Cutty, Steve Lee, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Man, Tri-State, and Oods. They are the full Nels crew. We're only here because of them. We wouldn't be fucking doing this if they weren't
Our
about.
parents.
They
all got together.
It's a very
formed us.
complicated.
It's like a
speaking of-
WrestleMania card. Rocketman 76 against Stan.
If we want to find the best patron support, like we should do that. Well, we often joked when we had 22 of them that we should do like a big 11-a-side football
Yes,
tournament.
nice.
Now I'm thinking wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, a big wrestling match between all of them would be pretty good. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/TCGS. There are different tiers. We've got a bonus podcast coming. We've got video stuff coming. If you don't sign up, we'll fucking stop. I promise you, we will stop. Patreon.com/TCGS.
We need to figure out this month's Patreon stuff, don't we?
We
'Cause
do need
it's
to.
getting on a bit.
Well, no, we know what we're doing for the video thing, and I am so excited about that. So I don't know if you know this, Pete, but someone has found some unedited footage, and it's an hour long. It's completely raw. Am I right?
Yeah,
Sean?
I think so. Yeah,
It's completely unedited of Keith Chegwin going to the Ocean Development Studio. And
Right, okay.
I
Oh,
think
back in
he's
the day.
interviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
I think
he
he's
was there
interviewing.
for,
No, not now. He's he's no longer with us. But
Chegwin checks it out.
Yeah.
Chegwin checks it out.
Checkers checks it out, really. And apparently, like, there's bits where the camera goes down and he's talking. I can't wait for that shit. Like, that is what I live for. So
There
I'm
might be a
all
lot
for that.
of nothing. So it'll be us like chatting over the dull bits. They'll be like, "Oh, hang on, fucking hell, something's happening."
Our listeners are used to that, Sean.
Yeah.
They're used to a whole lot of nothing. It'll be fine. It'll be right up the street. Yeah, bang up for that. So as for the podcast, I haven't got a clue yet, but it's all good. It's all good stuff.
out.
Patreon.com/DTG.
We could wait till James gets back, but then we'll be late because it'll be December.
Well, that's my worry.
So anyway, it's fine. This is
Right, okay.
admin.
Feedback from last week's show, Matt. It was
Yes.
They all love it, did they?
I think it did actually. Colin, my word, Ellie is hilarious. Her presence on the show even elevates your funny levels as you will jostle to get her to laugh at your jokes. Like baby birds, mouths wide, eyes bulging, hoping mama bird gives you a big juicy worm first, especially you, Matt. But seriously, she is gold. I love James, but it's time to send that work-shy freeloader packing and replace her with a formidable Ellie Gibson.
A bit of pressure, Pete. You feeling the pressure and all this?
Yeah, I mean, sartorially, I've not really sort of brought anything to the party. I'm looking down at like hats. I've got an Encarta hat. Will that help?
Shit, yes, I think that has helped.
Brilliant.
That is
So I
pretty
don't have
good.
anything. I don't have anything. I think I said I've got my eyes on. There was a Sierra video game back in the day. Somebody's made. The same people who made this app made a Colonel's Bequest hat that I've got my eye on. But the problem with me wearing hats anytime is that I instantly look like Jonathan King. So let's. It's not a good look for me, hats. And that should.
I'm the same. I'm the same. We were out together with a few friends, weren't we, Matt, a few weeks back?
We were.
And I said I can't wear hats, and they went, "Yes, you can." Shut up! Anyone can wear a hat. I took Matt's hat off. I put it on my head. Half the pub were just laughing and pointing and laughing at me, and as I sat there with a cap on, it was. I've just got one of those heads, so I feel your pain. Okay, next bit of feedback, Matt.
Yeah, Necromoz, I love. At 50 minutes and 40 seconds into the YouTube version of episode 405, Ellie Gibson is interrupted by a husband/large man/man with some description with a hot drink. For audio viewers, Ellie was wearing a fetching beanie with a massive shiny PlayStation logo and an equally fetching top with an equally massive PlayStation logo. As a gigantic mug is delivered into shot, I thought for a split second that the mug was also wore a giant PlayStation logo, and I was witnessing quite possibly the best pre-planned visual gag of all time. Sadly, it turned out it was just a Star Wars logo, but it says a lot about how hilariously brilliant Ellie is. That was my first assumption. More Ellie, please. Also, 5 minutes with Farley. It sounds like a cracking idea. I'm sure we can ask Chen all about it. Way.
It's a sex joke. That is a sex joke.
Actually.
Have you got an Encarta mug, Pete? Maybe you can.
No. I've got
Open
I've
goal
got
there.
dogs are my favourite because people are C words cup that I keep getting out in polite company. And this place is a mess. I've recently got at the age of 43, recently got into canned energy drinks.
God.
It's not ideal. I'll be in the ground by 45. It's not a good time to start, is it?
Is that Jordan's influence?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
I assumed
is.
it would be.
I don't know why. He sent me a picture of him in bed, not sexual.
Okay.
But there was a Monster Energy drink next to him on the nightstand. I always say, and he was mortified that there was he's drinking Monster in bed. But he clearly was.
Yeah. All right.
and now I am too.
Yeah, I don't think I could do energy drink. I bought what energy drink? It wasn't Monster, it wasn't Relentless, it was one of the other ones when I had like a Destiny 2 kind of promo. And for some reason on the day I thought I'm gonna stream Destiny 2 from 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't quite know why. And I had one of them and I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. And I was like, no, I can't do this anymore.
They're
And
heavy,
that was
aren't
a few
they?
years
Yeah.
ago. It was ridiculous. I thought I was gonna die.
I had to tap out of those things because I was eating orange Lucozade for breakfast as if it was freshly squeezed orange juice. I thought this is one of my 5 a day, isn't it? It's one of my 5 a day.
It's got vitamins in it.
Teeth
Fine.
start rotting. Okay.
Phil, listening to episode 204, Peter Parkour. Very much looking forward to seeing if James's parkour attempt takes off. David appears to almost perfectly predict a tumultuous future of the games industry. This occurs at 2 hours 17:40.
Have you had a listen
Someone
to
near
this,
an
Dave?
F1 track. Yes, I have listened to it. Have you listened to it?
I have, yeah.
I don't. What are your thoughts? And I'll tell you my thoughts. Do you want me to play a bit, or because it's quite long? It's not.
It is,
like
yeah, because I was sort of listening to it, and I was like, it's probably not worth playing the whole thing. Do you want to summarise it, or I don't mind?
I basically say that my biggest fear about the next gen, and this was years ago, right, way before the next gen started, this current gen started. My biggest fear for the next gen is that too many games that would come out that take up more time of more of gamers' times than they currently do. So instead of fresh release after fresh release, there'll be games with the service games, and that will have a negative impact on the gaming industry. And I kind of thought, well, that's a bit of a shit prediction. Like, I appreciate it, Greg. I appreciate the support, but I did listen to that and go, well, anyone could have said that. I mean, that wasn't the most groundbreaking prediction, which I know you're thinking about too, as well, Sean, because you would not give me a point at all.
No, it's definitely become more of a problem, like, since you said that. Like, because there was that ex.
Don't act like it was my fault. Don't say
because
it
of
like
David.
it was my
You
fault.
did this. You caused this. No, there was a few weeks ago. There was an ex Square, an ex analyst, did a sort of a big post about this sort of changing landscape. In that 10 years ago, you would look and be like, right, when are we going to release this game? Oh, well, there's an Assassin's Creed out that week, so we'll give it a couple of weeks after that. Everyone will have finished it and traded it in. Whereas now it's like, well, no, because if something big comes out, yes, a certain number of people play it and finish it, but then they'll be like, right, back to Fortnite. Or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then we'll have something else ongoing to fill that gap. They won't necessarily be like, right, cool, what am I trading this in against now because I need another game? Because you don't necessarily. So that's become more of a problem, I think. So well done, Dave.
Cheers, mate.
No
Thanks. I'm a bit of an oracle when it comes to this video game stuff, mate. So
Do you want to make another prediction now? Got anything else?
Yeah.
Just go on in. Think
People
quick.
born with 6
What?
fingers regularly because of all the typing they do on their phone.
Okay. You got a time scale for that, or
10 years.
10 years?
Okay.
10 years time.
And you're saying most people born with 6 fingers in the next
Yep.
10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't take the piss, mate. I got the last one right.
All
No,
just
the games
all
are
the fingers
not-
all just getting each other's way on the screen.
Well, I don't know, mate. They'll find a way.
It's not Jurassic Park.
All right. This next bit of feedback is
There we go.
long, so should we buckle in?
Yes. Well, we'll go start with actually a slightly shorter one. Greg the Gullible, non-actual Greg. I would like to thank you for making me feel like a fool. I was flying on Wednesday, so downloaded the latest episode of my used to be favourite video game podcast. I got to the end of the Xbox showcase bit before landing. After talking to several people and arguing with a few people over the existence of a new miniature delight of the Xbox 360, my annoyance when I listened to the end of the pod was that it was a joke, almost sent me over the edge. Twats. In all seriousness, thank you for a great podcast as someone just on the right side of 40. A group of friends who play games is dwindling. Getting new game recommendations that are not just mainstream AAAs or quadruple A's is very refreshing, as allowed me to really fall back in love with gaming. Have a good one. And there's another one on the same subject, actually. Dave, not Turner's, dear TCGS, long-time listener, although this is about to be debatable, first-time caller. Love the pod, really helps on them 6 a.m. runs. Felt compelled to write in as I was well and truly had by the latest pod and the Xbox showcase rundown. I loved hearing about all the games and was particularly excited by the reveal of the 360 Mini, as this was a console that really got me into gaming. Hearing the titles that are due to come out on it, I was on the edge of my seat thinking, I hope they have Viva Pinata, then letting out a little cheer when you said it was on there. Fast forward to being at work and telling everyone how we could relive the good old days by the end of the year, giving everyone the news about the detachable hard drive, online play and the blades finally returning. I even went as far as to tell my partner about the perfect Christmas gift. Imagine my horror when I was asked where the reveal was, and after minutes of frantic googling, I couldn't find anything at all. I was sure I wasn't making this up, but couldn't find it anywhere. It was only later that listening to a not so recent Patreon bonus show where you talked about making up an entire Nintendo Direct as part of your E3 coverage that it hit me. So you may or may not have got Ellie Gibson with the Xbox 360 Mini, but consider me got. I should also mention that it still worked despite watching the YouTube version, the YouTube watch along of the showcase before listening to the podcast. How did I not realise? Well done on the show. You and your guests make a podcast that transcends gaming, and that is a real highlight of the week. Sorry for a long read. Thanks for everything, Dave. Boxers, spatula, 33 and 4 5/5.
Cheers, Dave.
I can't remember what all those things are about now.
Boxers, the type of underwear. Spatula, favourite kitchen utensil, and
That's never
33
been a
and
thing,
4
has it?
fifths. Yeah, of course it is.
Has
it?
Because
Yes.
that's when people started ringing. Was it Tommy
Yeah.
Toaster? Was
Yeah,
like
we had Jill
messaging
Fridge.
Yeah,
and
but that
all
was
sort
in
of stuff.
the name, not in. We didn't need a summary of their favourite kitchen utensil.
We
at
need
the end.
that. We need that. What is it? Wiki. The
do need
TCGS
the
wiki
wiki.
set up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get to go through all the in jokes. Yeah, I got quite a few messages where people were angry about us lying about the 360 Mini. I thought that was. I was worried it was too obvious, Sean.
Yeah.
But apparently not. And the fact that we have a bit at the end of the show, Pete, called socials, where Matt goes through where you can follow the content over the next week. People tend to switch off before that, and we
Rankers.
let the we did the reveal after that, which seemed even worse. Like we should have maybe done it before that to explain to the listeners that the 360 Mini isn't real.
It just seems like the relationship between you guys and your viewers and listeners and enjoyers and Patreon subscribers is antagonistic at best. Just
Yeah, we
Yeah.
if
fucking
you're not
hate each
telling
other.
them that if you don't keep listening, we're gonna not do it. Like,
No.
that's your catchphrase. Very aggressive. It's just-
No, well, no,
it's
what
bullying.
is
It's bullying.
Yeah.
what is my catchphrase, Matt? What's my catchphrase?
Never listen to the listeners?
Correct. Never listen to the listeners. Fuck them. They don't know what they're talking about. Relentlessly messaging in with, I think you should do this. And then, but I don't actually think that. Well, the last person. Oh, shut up. Just enjoy the pod and tell your friends,
Or don't.
please.
Do you find that your like listeners on like audio are very different to the people who enjoy you in visual format? Because certainly I do a wrestling podcast at the moment called Mark, and the audio people are lovely. Put that stuff on YouTube and it's just insane. Like, people pretending they're uncles of British wrestlers from the 70s, lying about this and that. It's just a cesspit.
Well, for some reason, YouTube, we never seem to get much traction. Whereas so this goes out on Twitch, and then gets released as a podcast. Podcast is like by far the main audience, but we get we do all right on Twitch. But everyone, I don't know, everyone seems nice on Twitch. I think I don't think we get any shit. I don't know. I think
The worst thing we get is that we've got to contact the show.
Yes.
I mean, Matt will say in a minute, we've got a anonymous Google, like, what is it called? A Google form.
It's a Google form.
Yeah.
Where people just they put what they want. They can put whatever name they want. And, oh, my word, we get some abuse through that.
It's been all right for a little while now. I think we've thrown a lot of them off.
Oh, why have you
But
said
we
that?
just mentioned it. We just mentioned it.
Here comes the abuse. Yeah, I don't know why we decided to make it anonymous, because that's asking for trouble already, isn't it?
Well, we didn't, Matt. You did.
Yeah, well,
you
I
built
did.
it,
I,
Matt.
said- I like because that stuff's getting like mixed up with all the press releases and stuff in the inbox. So I was like, just do a form anyway. It doesn't matter. That's it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Leave your feedback.
Cool. Well, we're already into the news. I'm quite excited to be hearing what happened in the world of video games this week, Sean.
First off, Bethesda are not rushing to make a new Fallout game, apparently. According to Todd Howard, he did an interview with Mr. Matty Plays, where he's like, "Nah, it's like we're not rushing." He says that the studio gives, quote, a lot of thought to franchise management. He says it's sort of game planning out. Number one, making sure Fallout is relevant in the world, and well, I think clearly it is. The man's a visionary.
Cool.
He set that up and knocked it down himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Gosh, the way those games release, imagine that. Imagine them rushing. Good God.
Well, I think I can't remember if we said this on the show or not. We don't know what Obsidian are working on right now, do we? Aside from obviously the finishing up Avowed.
They are.
Once
You know,
that was
Outer
done,
Worlds
are
2? Is
they-
that not happening? Outer Worlds 2? Or
Oh shit! No, yeah, right. Yeah, they did announce that, didn't they?
Mm.
Oh well, never mind. I was hoping
Did
maybe
they
they were
announce
doing
that?
another Fallout.
Outworlds 2? Oh, that's good,
Yeah.
because that fucking game was all right. I mean,
was
it
all
needed
right.
some work, but it was okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
video game. So I'll play another one of them,
Yeah.
for sure.
Todd Howard also said, "quote I don't think it's bad for people to miss things." Which is an
Alright.
interesting. I don't know if his shareholders feel the same way. It's an interesting
Yeah.
statement.
I could do another Fallout though. After playing Starfield and hating it, I think I just want him to go back to Fallout and do another load of Fallout.
ruin that as well.
Because, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I just, like, Sean's got a problem with Todd Howard and Fallout.
I
haven't you,
haven't. I
Sean?
genuinely don't have a problem with.
Sounds like
Starfield.
you do.
I do have a problem with Starfield. But no, I think if Obsidian were doing another Fallout, I think that would be really cool. But it's unlikely. But I don't see. Surely there's no one free at Bethesda because they're still working on Starfield stuff. Elder Scrolls 6 is still en route and probably still years away.
Is there more Starfield stuff coming? I know there's the DLC. Is there any more after that?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think they said this week that they're doing another big one after that. Well, they're doing more after that.
Didn't they say basically they're going to keep doing like annual expansions until people stop caring?
Well, they're never going to release an annual expansion then? What is? Did you play Starfield, Pete, or did you manage?
I
to
did,
avoid
yeah. I sort of tried to get the whole cross-play. Sometimes playing on my PC, which is chunky, and then try to get it working on my Steam Deck and having the save swap over. Never worked for me, so it kind of put me off playing it, if I'm completely honest. I was a little bit upset, but I mean, yeah, I'm the same. I'm Fallout through and through, and I think why didn't they just put a bit of money behind that London Fallout mod that they screwed over by
Oh,
releasing the update?
absolutely!
Just
It's
throw
really
some money
brilliant.
at that.
Is it
Yeah,
out
because
yet?
that looks really good.
I think they
Is
were
it
planning on. They were about to bust it out, and then I think that because of the TV show, Bethesda updated the Fallout engine, I think, and then it
there's a
absolutely
big-
knocked them
yeah.
sideways.
Yeah, basically the big next gen update for Fallout 4 just completely screwed over mods for a bit.
Did you return to Fallout 4 since then? Because I mean, it does play better, but it doesn't look like it, needed a big announcement and like, hey, we're doing all this to Fallout. It was like, no, this still looks very much like Fallout, and there's people clipping through walls and arms like floating off into space and stuff. Like, there's all shit wrong with it. It's just it's in 60 frames now, so so it didn't really make that much of an impact. But I could do with another Fallout game, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the other stuff.
You got to imagine, yeah, if it is something that they do follow up after Elder Scrolls 6, we're like 10 years away.
Yep, exactly.
So they're going to have to get Obsidian or someone else onto it because we can't wait 10 years. That's
No,
ridiculous.
yeah,
The show would have
Should we
come and
do
gone
it?
by
Should we
then.
offer? We'll make a new Fallout.
Yep.
Go on. What would the where would it be?
Here, my house.
Wow.
Fallout Sean's house.
Sean,
And
you've
it's
kind of
just-
got
it's just
like
me. You play as me. There's no other characters.
Yeah, you do look like you've got crafting material behind you, Sean.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of got those kind of like
Oh, sorry.
NASA headphones, those NASA futurist kind of headphones. It's Starfield for me.
Can I tell you about? So, for those who just listen to the podcast, I'm in my home office and I've got pegboards on the walls with like nerd shit. Did I tell you what one of my colleagues said when I joined a work call the other week?
No, go on.
Well, so there's been two. One, I've been asked if I'm in a garage, and I've also
Right,
been
I
asked
can
if I'm
see
in a
that.
shed.
Wow, it's a fancy
Not that
shed.
much different.
And
I like it. It
took
shows
offence.
industry. It's good. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. It does look like I can modify your weapons underneath it in a video game. It looks spot on for that.
Is it the radio controlled cars? Do you think that's what throws
I
people
can,
off?
you can't even see what they are.
Well, this- you
That's
can't
the
really-
thing.
yeah.
Everyone's got interesting things behind them, and you're like, oh, that look. I don't even know what that is, but that looks. Oh, it is a little car. Yeah, I've just got a makeup table because I'm not allowed.
We've all got
my
our
own
interests,
space.
haven't we?
Yeah, every now and then I could spin
Hobbies are
around.
good.
Come back with my.
Makeup tutorials are big.
Yeah, they're
You
huge.
have some lovely Korean foundation. Slap it on. Come on.
Yeah, contouring.
Find the hat for you.
It's a shame Bethesda aren't doing another Fallout. To summarise
To summarise that
story,
chat.
it is a shame.
It's
isn't
good
it?
to
Should we-
miss things.
What's the next news story?
Speaking of things not being made, so there's been another report on what's going on at Zome, the Disco Elysium dev.
Oh God, yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, it's been crazy for a while now. But there's so basically there's been another project cancelled, I believe, and they've all got like weird code names. So of all the projects that Zone were working on since Disco Elysium, there was Y12, which was supposed to be a full sequel to Disco Elysium, and that was the one that they shelved when Kurvitz, Rostov, and Ninepair all left under a cloud. Then there was a game called codenamed P1, which was supposed to be an original sci-fi game. It was supposed to be headed by Kawakenda, who was one of the shareholders and producers at Zome, and he was sort of left / was kicked out. Then there was a project called X7, which I think that's the
Seeing
one
a
that's
sort of running theme with the titles. That
Yeah,
they need
yeah,
to get
yeah,
some
yeah.
fresher ideas, I think.
So this is the one that's recently been cancelled. So this was a smaller Disco Elysium spin-off that apparently focused on, I believe, focused on like one of the favourite characters. And this has also been recently binned now. So there's two projects left. There's M0, which is like a mobile game set in the Elysium universe.
Sweet, match free. That's nice.
And then, I reckon so. Yeah. And then there's C4, which is their only. That's like their biggest remaining project, which apparently is just a new RPG in a new setting. And I just feel like at this point, I'm sure that studio is still full of people who really love Disco Elysium and believe in it and wanted to be part of that. But this to me just feels like, I think we just need to write this off as a bad job now.
Yeah, it feels like the only thing that you could possibly get excited about is a completely new game coming out of nowhere, saying with the original people that worked on Disco Elysium, like not associated with the studio at all, because that is so sad. Like it was such a massive fucking. What a game that was. Do you know what I mean? Even for people like me that don't like games like that, to get blown away by it and the stuff that game does is just truly amazing. To know that it seems to all be crumbling and we're not going to see that magic again, it's kind of a killer, right? That really sucks. And I know you're an even bigger fan than I am of Disco Elysium, Sean. So God knows how you feel about it all.
Well, it's just like I don't feel like whatever they produce at this point is going to be in any way faithful to what Disco Elysium was. Like the whole thing just feels really gross now. So yeah,
like when American Pie went straight to DVD films.
Yeah,
after that period.
Yeah, never the same.
Exactly like that.
The dad was still in it, even though the son wasn't. What was the point, Sean? What was the point?
Yeah, but the dad was one of the best characters, wasn't he, really?
Yeah, he was one of the best characters, but if his son's not
What did he get
trying
up to?
have sex.
Was he having sex with a dad-sized pie? Was he,
Yeah, bigger pie.
was he just trying to show? How did that work?
I don't know. But that's a
Two
watch
pies.
along, Sean. Write that down as an idea for a future episode about watch alongs. Yeah, no, that sucks, man. I need to do another run of Disco Elysium. Maybe
Yeah,
we
me
need
too,
to do
because
that.
obviously we all played it before the whatever the definitive edition
fully voiced
was called.
version.
Yeah, the voice
with
one,
all
yeah.
voice acting and everything. Yeah, definitely got another run of that.
It got a Switch port in the end, didn't it?
It
That
did
was
get a
nice.
Switch
yeah,
port. I was
yeah.
just about to say, I wonder how good the Switch port is, because that kind of sounds perfect. But yeah, shame. Big shame. Right.
It's a
Will
big
someone
shame.
think of British Sea Power? They did the music, didn't they?
They did? Yeah,
They
yeah,
did.
yeah.
They're not doing much at the moment.
They're not.
Get
Yeah,
'em
well,
on.
let's get him to do a soundtrack first, and then we'll say, that's
Yeah,
done.
work it out for that.
That's the hard bit.
They've made a really communist DJ hero. I don't know what.
I mean, I'll be up for that.
Yeah,
Of course you would. Of course you would.
it sounds like a shot of ideas. It sounds like they need all the help they can get. That company.
Sean?
last bit of news. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow or yesterday when you hear this. If you're listening on Wednesday, it's going to be on 18th of June, 3 p.m. British summertime, and it is only going to focus on Nintendo Switch games coming out in the latter half of this year, and apparently will not mention the Switch successor.
Yeah, they've specifically said that now, haven't they? That they will not be talking about the Switch successor.
Yeah, but it's around. They said it's around 40 minutes. How have they got?
Yeah,
40
what the
minutes
fuck are they going to talk about?
Switch games?
Not very direct, is it?
No, it's the opposite.
Yeah. But I can't imagine what they've got to talk. What games are coming? So we know Luigi's Mansion 2, that's coming.
But again, how much is there to say?
I don't know. Look, I don't know what they can
25
say
minutes
about
on that, I reckon. Easy. Really stretch out every single
what else
feature.
have they got on the? What else is coming?
Well, I guess
can't
new
think of
reveals, I
anything
guess,
else.
isn't it? Stuff we don't know about. It has to be that.
Like,
Suppose.
but what, I mean, at this point, I can't imagine anything of interest being announced. They're clearly moving on. We know that the Switch successor is coming by the end of this fiscal year. So, I mean, what are they going? This is going to be one of the ones that James loves, where Nintendo are really looking around, just going, "Look, we got nothing. We've got I don't know what we've got coming, really."
Do you like farming sims? It's going to be one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm slightly. I'd love to see what first party stuff's coming, but I can't imagine it's much.
It's a remake of that CDI Zelda game. The Princess.
Yeah, yeah.
Horrific one.
That would at least be funny, though.
It's true.
Big meme.
Not when they charge you 50 quid for it. It won't.
No, that's a good point.
But yeah, like
Have you got
this Eurogamer piece mentioned this, and I can fully believe it. You know, like the long rumored Switch ports for Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD. They probably had them ready to go for months. And like, okay, nothing else. Just let's release it now. Let's release it now.
I
This is
think
the
Wind
time.
Waker. Like I thought Wind Waker was really good at the time. When I went back to it, because they re-released it on the fucking Wii U. You know what I mean? It's not like they can't just keep bringing these out just for the next console.
Yes, they
Right.
can. That's literally what they've done.
What I love about that Wind Waker re-release was that, like, you look at it and you're like, oh man, like this fucking art style didn't age a day. It's incredible. And then you look at the original, and you're like, oh no, it did age quite a bit. Actually, the HD version does look quite a bit better.
Yeah, it does look better. But yeah, I don't know. I can't keep playing the same fucking game over and over again, but just in a different console. It's doing my nutting. And for them to like specifically say that they're not mentioning it's not coming this year, is it? I mean, all the reports were saying that the Switch successor was coming in 2024, but I think it's clear now that that's not going to be the case. It's going to be 2025. And honestly, I've been playing Switch a lot this weekend. We'll talk about it later, but I don't even know what I want out of a new console at this point. Like, because I get a feeling that it's just going to be the same again, more powerful, and then we're going to go through the treadmill again. You know, there will be a new Mario, which is great. New Mario Karts, new Smash Bros. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to. It's like history repeating over and over again. And at some point, you want to go, oh, no, come on, Nintendo. Let's do something exciting now, please.
They will have one thing new, for sure. Sorry.
It'll just be like they'll build the Switch and then they'll show it, and then down the line you'll get a bigger one, then you get an OLED version of it. It's just like it's quite formulaic these days, isn't it? Unless you're doing something a lot different, and a lot different doesn't seem to sell at the moment. You need something to excite Digital Foundry with their polygons.
Yeah, we should get one of them on and go, so what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like, really interrogate them. Say, no, we won't ask you.
David,
stuff
there's going to be a very special shader compilation package. Going to be. Oh God! Come on, guys! Come on, guys! We all know you make up those graphs. You're not really checking them.
Liven up somewhere. Come on, give us a little bit.
But I listen and watch to everyone, and I feel like I haven't played a video game in 5 years, and yet like all we hear is like Wind Waker's getting re-released. It makes me feel like I'm kind of quite up on things because all we get is re-releases.
Yeah, Digital Foundry is incredible because you sit there, you watch it, you don't understand a fucking word they're saying. Like,
I could
don't
listen
get what
to
they're saying.
hours of those wonderfully healed men just yapping about bloody polygons and shaders and
when they
pointing
show
out
us
little
side
bits
by
of
side.
Yeah, there's a
And you're
crocodile in the
going-
Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer and 7 trailer or whatever, and they're just going, well, look at the shadow under here. Obviously, there's occluded shadow. I don't know what you're saying, but I want you to say more of it.
My favorite thing they did was, and I know, and this is me like oversimplifying it, but just on the face of it, it was very funny to me, where just suddenly one day they were just like, yeah, we've got like a really old like CRT monitor, and actually it's better. And it's just like, oh, come on, fuck off.
Revolutionary.
People
But they can get
chucking
away
out
with
their-
saying stuff
their
like that.
OLEDs.
Yeah.
I like it when they go, here's the screenshot on the Xbox Series X, and now you will see quite clearly how much better it is on the PS5. And I'm going, no, I can't.
People
What are you
watch these things
talking
and
about?
convince themselves. They're like, yeah, I can see. Yeah, you're right. Actually, now you mention it, that is obvious.
Yeah, well, you learned your lesson on the show, didn't you, Sean? When you come in and it was
What?
when you were talking about how good the HDR was on Red Dead
Are we
Redemption
bringing that
2.
up again? Are we?
Oh yeah.
We've got a new guest. Let's make sure they know about.
Let's
Sean's
make
fuck
sure
up
that
with
they
the
know you were
HDR
raving
stuff.
about you were raving about the HDR in Red Dead Redemption 2 a day before it was announced that there was no HDR
Yeah.
in Red Dead
It was
Redemption.
technically an option, but it didn't really do anything.
But isn't like HDR? Isn't HDR just a big lie anywhere? Because I could be watching an HDR bit and I'm like, oh, isn't that bright? It's not turned on.
Well,
Never
this
turned
is it. This is how I've reformed my image by
It's
becoming an
so
HDR truther.
Right,
Now I'm like, it's
yeah.
all bollocks. Actually,
I've turned HDR off on my Alienware monitor because I've got a big, stupid, wide one, and because every time I take a screenshot, it goes yellow. It's just a great feature. It's just a great. If I'm sending something over, you just can't make out anything I've taken. It's that kind of stuff that just makes you happy that you're just on the verge of great technological improvements. Awful.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
I've stopped caring if things are in, well, not that I can even tell whether things are in HDR or not.
You
Yeah,
can tell.
really.
You can tell.
I don't think you can.
You
man.
can.
I tell you one thing though. I when I got my OLED for the first time, and I was like, I was watching it. I was going, this looks really good. This looks really good. But I swear they look way better in the shops. And that, Sean, is when I found out that there's an option to put it into shop mode. And when you put it into shop mode, it looks a million times better because it's like way brighter and everything. And then when you look into it, it's like, yeah, we don't recommend you use that because it really fucks the telly really quickly.
Burns it.
And I was like, oh,
Oh.
great. I wanted
Never
it like
get an
it was
extra
in the
display
shop.
model then.
No, don't get an extra display model.
Well, assuming there's
It
also
is
just
not
loads of
worth the
offers
50
and
quid.
prices on the TV at the same time as well. So
Yeah.
why would you want that?
Yeah. Then suddenly there's CCTV of someone walking through like a Waitrose like 40 miles away. It's really odd. What were we talking about?
Yeah, so
Nintendo
Switch
and
Success is not going to be announced tomorrow, no.
Yeah, Nintendo Direct.
What
Who
would
Yeah.
you
knows
want
what's
from
in it? I mean, obviously, it's not gonna be Silk Song, but it's fun to imagine, isn't it?
I still think that's going to be shown at an Xbox thing, Sean.
I think you're probably right.
I still think it's not. I think Nintendo have missed the boat. with it.
Especially because you all took the piss on me for saying, will it be the next Nintendo thing? And you're like, no, Matt, it's clearly Xbox.
Yeah,
But
well,
now
you've said
now,
that.
But now Sean
about 3
thinks
years.
it's going to be
No, I didn't say I think it will be. I just
He
saying
said he
it's fun
hoped
to
it
imagine.
was.
Oh, I think that's as
But
as
isn't
good
your
as to
point
me.
now that genre's sort of moved on, so you'll find it a little bit hard to get excited?
Well, that's true, yeah,
about-
'cause it's been a really fucking good year for Metroidvanias. So actually, yeah, Silk Song's got to do something really special to stand out at this point.
Yeah, and we've already had like a couple of big hits, haven't we? Like
Mhm.
Animal Well. I still don't consider Animal Well a proper Metroidvania though.
It's an
I-
unconventional Metroidvania. It scratches
Yeah.
the same itch, I would say.
Yeah, it's just that it seems way more like you can do it, but anyway, but getting more things makes it easier rather than things being like locked off like that or in
Yeah.
Metroidvanias. I don't know. What do you want from a Switch successor, Sean? Well, like, what is the one thing that you want them to sort?
Well, I don't know, because obviously having a Steam Deck, that now sort of quite nicely fills the niche. But then I suppose the thing with the Steam Deck is, like, if you want to play... Well, you've got that, like, if you're plugging it into the telly, you've got the headache of, like, well, will this game run at 1080p or do I have to run it at 720? A lot of games do run at decent resolutions, but I've got God of War on the Steam Deck, right? If I want to play that on the TV, that's not a particularly good experience.
Right.
So that there's that little barrier of like, if I plug it into the TV, how's it going to run? What resolution can I run at, etc., etc. So to have a modern handheld that also plugs into the telly and I know will just run things, like that would be cool. And also doing multiplayer stuff on the Steam Deck on the telly is a pain because I don't have like 2 controllers linked with the Steam Deck. I would have to like faff around with that. So if it was like a new Switch that just plugged into the telly and the Joy-Cons came off and, you know, me and my son can play Mario Kart 9 without fucking around. Good.
Do you mean Mario Kart Deluxe Plus?
Yes.
Which is definitely going to be the game they release on it. They will never make that 9.
So yeah, so the Steam Deck basically mostly fills like that, like what I got out of the original Switch, but there's just a couple of caveats there that it would be cool to iron out, I guess. Do I want to spend 350 quid to do that? Inevitably, yes. But it, yeah. I don't know.
But I can't right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got no chance. The moment they announce that thing, the kids are going to go nuts. And trying to convince them to stay on their Switch to not break Daddy's new one is going to be a tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough,
You
mate.
could hide it. You could like do it in the bathroom like a problematic dad. hide it in the cistern. Hide it in the cistern. Do it before I get up in the morning.
I could buy a safe.
Yeah.
Just keep it in there.
Daddy's secret. Shh.
But it's Nintendo. Like I think they will have some kind of wacky new idea, but ultimately, we just want a more powerful Switch.
I don't think they're going to go for a wacky new idea. I think they were so successful for the Switch.
They'll have something
the
wacky.
Switch.
There'll be something. It won't literally just be a HD Switch, even though that is kind of what we want.
I kind of want you to predict what the wacky thing's going to be, Matt. I want to hear.
You can't predict. You can't predict Nintendo, can you? Maybe they'll bring the vitality sensor back.
Which sensor? The vitality sensor. What was that one?
That was when
that
it's like
came out, did it?
no, it's
was
like
the
when you're in
Wii,
hospital and you put that red thing on, like it's like that.
Oh, it's like an oxygen sensor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of those where the Wii was deep within its lifespan, and they they sort of prolonged the success of it with Wii Fit, and they thought, right, so people like weird like extras added to their Wiis, and this guy come out on stage and just went, we've got a Wii vitality sensor, and it can do your heartbeat. And everyone was in the theatre just going, what the what? Why? Why does anyone want this? And then he walked off, and it was never mentioned by Nintendo again. And like, I think there's going to be a documentary about how that was just someone that showed up on the day.
They crashed the stage.
Crashed the stage and come out with this shit. He had boxes of these like sort of heart rate monitors that no one was buying, and he thought, "Fuck yeah, I see my chance here."
Like that man who used to sell dowsing rods to the Iraqis to hunt bombs, but they didn't do anything. It was just stick.
It's the same guy.
You'd plug in
I think
different
Nintendo
modules.
just had like a challenge internally where they were just like, look, you can spend 50 quid on eBay, and then whatever it is, you've got to pretend it's the new Wii accessory on stage.
It's like a Timu challenge.
Yeah, they were all drunk in a pub once, and they come up with this bet. Okay, is that it for the news?
That is it for the news.
Blimey, we are flying through the show this week. Let's get to what you've been playing, and I think we should probably start with the biggest sports game to be released in 20 years, Matthew. Although it's not out yet. It's the beta of UFL. Now, UFL's a football game. Look, if you don't like football, come on, start liking it. It's good. I
don't like football.
Well, Sean, maybe you should watch a couple of games, yeah? Maybe
Believe me, I've tried.
Have you?
Look, and
No, you
obviously, you know, Euros are on. We're definitely in one of those periods where I really wish I got it, because it sounds like a lot of fun. But I just
it is. It's great.
It's
on every day, you know. Football's on literally on every day.
I've got a feeling you trying to like football is you. I also imagine you sitting there watching it with your arms folded. I can sort of just go.
Come on, lads.
Breathing through my nose.
No, constantly going. I just don't get it. What were like every 5 seconds? All right, Sean, you don't get it. I'm just
looking at my watch.
But a new football game is coming out called UFL. I don't even know the history of this, Matt. Where's this even come from? You were talking about it in the chat, and I was like, well, I'll give it a go. Who's making this?
A company called Strikers Inc. I'm not
there
sure
you
what the
go.
pedigree is.
Sounds
They're
bad.
the Strikers. They're the Strikers Incorporated. Like,
Yeah.
who else would you
Yeah.
want making a football game?
Which, ironically, if we found out that Harry Kane did just make this in his bedroom, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, FC. Are you an FC24 player, Pete? Is it? I know
I have 5 games in league every time it gets released, and then it gets put away, and I never play it for another year. It's just, well, I have to have this one. I simply have to have this one. But it would be so good to have some legitimate, fun, stranger kind of experiences in the football space, because it just got very boring and very formulaic and just very
It's shit.
esportsy.
it's
Yeah,
shit. FC24 is shit. There's it really highlights how hard it is to make a computer like a computer football game. Because
Yeah.
even when we were like younger, even like the classics like ISS 98 and stuff like that, there was easy ways to sort of break the game and score with a certain shot and curl it in, take it to the corner, power shot, curl it into the top corner every time in that game. And no matter how much development goes into it, making a football game's really fucking complicated and hard.
Yeah.
And making a good one, I think, is almost impossible. And part of me doesn't want to shit on UFL, right? Because we need a competitor, and we need like 2 football games that are selling really well to push each other in the right direction and change the way things are. Because FIFA and FC24 have been the same for a long time now. But it's hard not to shit on this. It's fucking insane. This is not a good effort.
But I do agree with you. Yeah, it's exciting. Like, when I loaded up the beta, I was like, it's exciting. We've got like a new football game. What are they going to do differently? And what they've done differently is kind of it's if you squint, it's kind of like FIFA, but when you play it, it feels nothing like FIFA. Like they haven't really. I mean, yeah, I think I do agree with you, Pete. It is very formulaic. Football games in general, it feels like that's just it's FIFA now. But everyone else has given up, and now these guys are coming, and it feels like they've tried to do it without actually kind of really understanding why FIFA it can be fun on occasions when you're not fighting it like it's a fruit machine.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're looking at with the new FIFA game, aren't we? Because I think the head of FIFA were basically saying this week he went on stage and said, this is what we're doing, and when people say that they have like I think it was like an e-gaming experience. He was using very weird vernacular. E-gaming experience. FIFA is the thing they say. They say I'm playing FIFA rather than playing whatever else, which is to a certain extent true. But it's like you say, it's really hard to build something like this. You are standing on the shoulders of your own gigantic effort the year before, and if this is how Strikers is doing it, I would very much. I can't wait for FIFA to get it wrong as well.
Oh god, it's going to be so shit.
I do miss those years though in like the 90s where you have like Actra Soccer, Virtua Striker, all like the kind of like the top down isometric ones and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I miss having that
Red
choice
Card.
where some were just a bit fun. You know what I mean? You'd have just have some stupid experiences as well, and they didn't have to tie into anything. I miss the arcadey kind of
Red Card
ones.
Soccer was a game, Sean, where there were no referees, and I just thought, and it didn't like play into
That means there's
that.
no red cards either.
That's right.
They fucked
That's
that up.
So
because
why
you're
they
basically
called it red
playing
card, I don't know. I don't know. It's a better name.
Every
than no
tackle is a
card.
red card, but there's no refs to see it.
No.
But what
cards
makes me
football.
laugh is that game, it didn't go, hey, you could do these crazy tackles, there's no referees, so actually you could just punch each other, it was just a football game where they didn't code a referee into it. So, like,
I mean,
We
that's a
put
hell of
that
a spin,
processor
isn't it?
cycle into the AI of the
They
game.
just decided it was too hard to add that feature. They're like, hang on a minute, what if that's the point?
Yeah.
It's not in the game.
Feature not a bug. Feature not a bug.
yeah, but you're right. There was a time where there was loads of football games out, and there was always something about them. And I'll be honest, right? I think I could play any football game with my kids or with a mate, and we'd still have a laugh with it, you know, because you're trying to score a goal, and no matter how shit it is. So, like, if you've got like a emulator with loads of ROMs on it or whatever, you find a football game and you could play a match of that, and it'd be like you'd have a fucking laugh, even if it's terrible. And Harry and I played about 3 or 4 games of this UFL, and we had a laugh with it, but. It just highlights how much work you've got to put into even making it anywhere near what FC24 are doing. In terms of animation, in terms of even things like when the ball's in the air, like jostling with the other players to try and win the header and stuff like that. None of that's in this, and in fact, actually, normal football teams aren't in this. You're playing like. The Wolves versus they are real. That's a poor example.
Yeah, that's out of order.
But it's like Elite versus Vultures, and it's got a few players in it, but I think a lot of them are fake.
It's so weird because basically I'm not sure which team I chose, but you basically choose a team of people I've never heard of. I like football, but are these just like unknown up and coming footballers? No, they're just totally made up people. But Kevin De Bruyne also plays in that team, or also totally random people. But Cristiano's there, and when I played online, it's just basically people just sticking as Cristiano, just running around everyone because they're not good. They're not going to pass to like Tim Smith and Simon Jones.
We got the Ched Evans license, guys. That one's been up for grabs for a very long time.
Yeah, no one's picking that up.
The only video I've seen of UFL, because I've not actually played it, is the net just bulges to the entire length of half the pitch and then bounces back again. And that's what's fun about, like, you know, people having a go, you know, before you get to how difficult the net code is to program. I imagine there's so much issue with the internet because football video games have always been quite patchy when it comes to... Konami couldn't get it right for a few iterations.
No, there's my favourite is a video where it's a penalty and they hit the post, but the ball bounces out, goes around the striker, and back again, like in a hoosh, like shoe
Shaolin soccer,
and then goes into the other end of the goal when they run off celebrate. I was like, yeah, actually, I've got time for this. They should just rebrand.
Maybe they're just leaning
football.
into the streamer thing. They're just using their beta to just sort of lean into like getting idiot streamers to sort of stream it to look for the bugs, and then they'll release a bug
or idiot podcasters to give them a lot of
get the cheapies
publicity.
Yeah, it is great though. I like no, it's not great, it's bad, but like the commentary is like of football games from like 10-15 years ago where it was they're like, oh my god, it's a goal or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the same when you play it, David, but yeah, you would score or you'd have like you'll be on the attack basically in the opposition's box, and then it's still almost talking about you passing around the centre circle, like, and then you score and it's like, oh yeah, and that's and there's a great attack now. It's like, no, I'm one up.
No, it wasn't
I've scored.
Yeah, I do
brilliant.
miss that era for video game commentary though. And today's game,
you don't have to. It's happening right now with UFL.
This is France. Is it? And I'll never forget. What was it? Free Lions. Was it Free Lions? It was the Euro '96 one for the Sega
think that was
Saturn.
Active Soccer, wasn't it? I think that was an Active Soccer.
It might have been Active Soccer. And they cut the Shearer and Sheranham's thing wrong, like the commentary names. So it would go every time Shearer had the ball, it'd go Shearer.
Oh yeah,
and when Sheringham got the ball, it went Erringham.
Wow.
It's like, yes, mate.
Oh, great.
Those are the days.
Lovely.
Those are the fucking. I often do think how much when you play FC24 now, how long that period is of recording the commentary, because it is insane. The amount of names they've got to say and the amount of like commentary that's in that game is mental.
And ideally, you're looking at multiple takes. Like
multiple takes,
because there'll be multiple takes that I assume there's multiple takes they actually use, and then some more like redundant ones on top of that. And it must be nuts.
God, yeah. And then you've got like we're a big fan of clubs. I say a big fan of it. We fucking hate it, but it's an excuse for all my friends to get together pretty much every night and play pro clubs. And when you're creating your player, there are so many surnames to choose from, some of which I'm pretty sure are fake and are just to try and get the commentator to say funny names. Like, I'm a dick. Is there a player called I'm a dick? I don't know, but there's a lot of players in clubs called I'm a dick because it's funny. Yeah. So I don't think UFL is going to live up to it. So we can only hope that FIFA FIFA have actually created the greatest football game of all time, and they shut us all up later on when that's.
I mean, the FIFA
finally
game
released.
is rumored to be done by 2K, who obviously know their stuff, but
They
we
do.
need an actual competitor, because I mean, UFL. I don't think UFL is going to quite be the competitor we need. So now all our hopes are on the FIFA game by 2K. I'm glad someone's tried something, but from the beta at least, it needs a lot of work to feel fun.
Just having a look at how long I've played FC24 since it come out. 8 days, 4 hours, and 44 minutes. That's too much of that game, isn't it? A game that I
You just said was shit.
actively hate.
Yeah.
Actively hate.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's too much. But it's not the only sports game I've played this weekend. I've been so Father's Day yesterday. I sat down with the boys and we played tons of. What is it called on the Switch? 51 Worldwide Classics or whatever it is.
Yes.
Oh God. Yeah.
That's good, man. Playing Ludo and that with the kids, and I know
Ludo's not good.
you're one of those people. I
Is
know
that the one
it's
with a
not
little
good.
book in it? You get like a little book with the. Weirdly, I
No,
own
it's-
that, and I've never used it.
What's
With the
this?
Switch,
What,
with the
Ludo?
Switch, with the Switch. No, the 51 compendium games or whatever. You get the cartridge, and then you get obviously the book as well. Is that part of
Oh,
Comes
the
with a
Switch?
book. I haven't got
Yeah,
the
it comes.
book.
It came with like a little sort of a book that you'd write in and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Did you
I
get it
didn't
from cash
we all-
converters?
I bought this digitally, so maybe this is a thing with.
Did you find it?
physical
Car boot
version.
sale.
It's a little book, and
Lots of
it's got
crosses
all
in it.
drawings of nude people in it and stuff.
It comes in a blue and white. It came in a blue and
A
white
scrapbook
striped
of
plastic
ladies'
bag.
faces and stuff on bikinis and
Yeah, there's stuff in like
Netflix.
mother's maiden name, pet's first name.
And just like lists of people's fears and stuff.
pentagrams. Not pentagrams.
Spells. I was playing Ludo with Charlie, my 5-year-old, and he went, "Can we play another one, like a different board game after this?"
Can we
And-
stop
and I went-
this? Daddy.
And do you know what he said? He went, "I want to play chess."
Whoa!
Whoa. Whoa.
Honestly, so
Steady.
I'd forgotten he went through a period of just playing this 51 all-time classics. Like he smashed it, so he knows all of the games. And he was and he said, "Oh, I play chess. I like playing chess. I play chess all the time on it." And I'm going, "Fucking hell, man!" Like my 5-year-old is like a bit of a he's hard work, I think is the nice way of saying it. But what if he's a genius?
Yeah.
I checkmated him in about 4 moves. It wasn't a.
Do you ever feel like a lot of parents are sort of dishonest about like when they say like, "Oh yeah, my kid's playing such and such," and you're like, "Yeah, are they though?" Or are they
Yeah.
just like, "Oh yeah,
They
my
got the
kid's
pieces
like,
out.
yeah, my kid's 3 and he's playing Minecraft. Is he just walking around? That's fine."
That's playing, isn't it?
Sean, just smile and nod, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just
Liar.
saying. You just get the feeling because you're sitting there thinking, "Well, my 3-year-old tried to play Minecraft and he was shit." So what's
And your 3-year-old can do recipes, and they built a calculator in Minecraft, have they?
I told you the story when Harry turned around to me and said that I think I can beat you at FIFA now, Dad. And then I sat him down and went, "Okay, we're gonna be same style teams, same level teams. I'm not gonna hold back. Okay, if you beat me, fair play, mate. But I'm not holding back. Yeah, no, let's do it." It's 4-0 up after 10 minutes and doing keepy uppies in the corner. He ran off crying, and Joe just looked at me as if you are a fucking idiot. Why can't you just?
that's a
ran
funny
off?
story up until the ran off crying and then
Yeah, well,
Just
I
you
mean,
wait till the
look.
Ma Yong round. He's going to absolutely hand your ass to you.
Look, one day he will beat me, so he'll always have that in his
Yeah,
locker.
enjoy it. Enjoy
But
it.
it's not today. No, so then Charlie went, "Oh, let's do bowling," and I was like, "We're not doing the bowling, and this is shit." So
Yeah, it is.
we loaded up Switch Sports, which is well, I've not played this since probably the first week after it come out, and we did our little tournament thing on Twitch or whatever it was, and I can't quite grasp how much they fucked this up compared to like Wii Sports. Like we were asking for this game for years, and going back to it, I thought, were we just being harsh on it? They overcomplicate everything. Everything is just way more overcomplicated. It's nowhere near as fun as it was on the Wii. And what was the fucking? We tried golf, which came out later.
Yeah, that came out afterwards, didn't it?
Right. Oh, it's almost impossible to play. Like it's
Really?
ridiculously,
Oh,
it's
what a shame.
ridiculously hard to play. No one wanted. We did like a couple of holes. It was like, this is stupid.
Sounds like
Like,
a
to the
skill
po-
issue. What is the issue here? Is it the game, or is it you can't?
I will
putt?
challenge you to.
You can't do an
game of
eagle.
golf.
Is that your issue?
Let's do a round of golf then.
Fine, yeah,
on-
fine.
I'll
Whoever
give you a round of
loses,
golf.
spare £1,000 to the other one.
Well, let's.
£5,000.
Okay.
£100.
Let's not get carried
12.
away with bets, Matt.
Yeah, that's fine.
You've already got one.
And the
in
fun
locker
stops,
at the moment.
guys.
Yeah, good one. £25,000. Fine.
So yeah, I didn't have much to say about other than it was really sad to go back to, and it just reminded me of the fact that Wii Sports was so much better, and it come out about 10 years before that.
Yeah,
so
I
that was
remember.
my
I remember playing bowling on that 51 Worldwide Classics or whatever it's called, and yeah, I was like, oh, brilliant! You know, I miss bowling on Wii Sports. How you know, this must be the one. And yeah, it was so bad that I went out and bought a Wii from CEX
Right, yeah, I remember.
to show LD what real bowling's like. Not that stuff in the arcade, in your local 10-pin bowling centre. No, the real bowling, aka Wii Sports, and it's brilliant. It's still brilliant on Wii. And then when this came out, I was like, well, all they got to do is just do bowling again. That's all they've got to do.
Did you get the
didn't.
resorts one as well? Did you do the archery? Because I remember that being quite good.
I did have a Wii Motion Plus, but then my rabbits at the time bit through the cable of the Wii Sense, and I didn't go back and get another one.
That's right. No, we did. I remember we did. Do you remember Cane and Rinse, Matt? Do you remember that?
Is that like-
podcast?
Is that a game? Was that a gaming podcast?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
I was
a
on it
gaming
this month.
podcast.
Oh, wait, is that
Yeah,
still,
it
still
was.
going?
Still relevant.
Still going? Is that okay?
Yep.
Did you know they did a pilot TV show?
I did, yes.
That's a no then, isn't it? They did a pilot TV show, and I was on there with Michael Fox when we were doing Joypod, and the competitive game that we had to play was the archery from What's It, and it took them 4 hours to film it. I beat him, and then they said we didn't have the mics turned on, so we had to do it all again. It was
no.
absolutely, that was a bad day. Didn't get commissioned. Did not get commissioned that TV
Well,
show.
Probably didn't send the files over.
Yeah, well, or like a fully silent TV show probably isn't going to work in this day and age.
No, it is not. Matt, what other games have you got for us this week?
Well, it's been a busy week because work's busy and also the Euros are on. But I did play the Alan Wake 2 DLC called Night of Springs. It's only super short. Or I haven't said that. I haven't actually quite finished it, but I think I'm right at the end. It's 3 kind of mini episodes, which basically includes some characters you've seen from either Alan Wake 2 or from Control in the form of playing as Jesse. Yeah, and like the first one, you play as this as the waitress from the diner in the game, and you're obsessed with trying to find Alan Wake. And essentially, you can pick like a bunch of these weapons, and you're just going around murdering everyone. Like you got shotguns, basically like fully automatic like modes. It's great, but there's not much in terms of like gameplay or like strategy or anything. You're literally going through. You're essentially trying to chase this person to find out where your lover Alan Wake is, and you're basically going through murdering folks all over the shop. So that one isn't too like different in terms of like like delving into all the meta stuff that Alan Wake 2 does so well. The second one, you're back in Coffee World, which is the kind of scary survival horror part of Alan Wake 2. But you play as Jesse, which is awesome from Control. So there's like a real nice link in there between like stuff you did in Control and then. No, it's not a spoiler.
What, the Jesse's in it?
Yeah.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah,
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. In trailer, which
It's
I still
hard
haven't
to-
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've not seen the trailer?
No, because my internet went down at that point. We're talking over it, and I never went back to it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That one like is a bit more technical. There's a few more puzzles, and although it doesn't really delve into it as delve into like the kind of how the stories link, it's still nice to kind of see her in the Alan Wake kind of universe, and you meet another character as well, which is kind of cool to see again. Like it's all the kind of meta stuff from Alan Wake is what makes it so good and so interesting in my eyes. And then the third one, which I'm about half an hour, about 20 minutes in, it goes even more meta, where you meet some people who work at the studio, basically behind Alan Wake, and this one already seems much more like Alan Wake in terms of the mechanics you're using, some of the puzzles you're doing. But yeah, I think I'm near the end, and the whole thing's probably taken me like less than 2 hours. So I don't know how much
really?
the DLC costs normally, because I'm game sharing with a mate, and it just appeared, after he bought it. But yeah, I mean, for like less than 3 hours, unless you're like a hardcore Alan Wake 2 fan, probably not going to get the value you need from it. This is only the first of the 2 planned DLCs they've got. This one's split into 3 chapters. I'm not sure when the next one is due out. Yeah, it's good to be back in that universe, but very, very, very short. And yeah, maybe the latter half of the 3rd chapter changes things, but thus far it's kind of, pretty mechanic free and pretty simple. But it's nice to be back in that universe, but not a lot of stuff for your money, I would say.
It looks like it's 15 quid. Or at least the upgrade to the deluxe version of Alan Wake is
Oh, okay,
15
right.
quid.
Are you still playing Alan Wake 2, Sean?
On and off. I made the mistake of getting to We Sing and then putting it to one side for a bit, and I'm like, oh well, I've seen the bit that everyone talked about now, and it's fucking incredible. Like it's so good. So yeah, I do really want to go back to it, and I will at some point.
But Pete, have you been playing Alan Wake 1 or?
I've been I've been playing Alan Wake 2
Okay.
because
okay.
because I hadn't caught up. My life's got quite busy recently, so what I find is that I kind of and I don't need to tell you guys as fathers and parents and stuff. I find that I read and watch more about video games than I actually play these days. But I did sit down and finally get round to Alan Wake 2 because I love Control. I love all of their titles.
Yeah.
And to be honest, with the amount of time I've got to play video games these days, I want a 5-hour DLC. I think that kind of stuff is really charming to me these days. Whenever I hear the word open world, it makes my winky go off. It just really does not make me
We've said
happy.
that a lot. When a game comes out and it says, it's only 6 hours, we're like, oh god, inject it into my
Lovely.
veins.
Yes.
You mean I might see credits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great bit of work. It really is a real stunner, and we probably want to see the like of it again. Annoyingly.
Yeah,
because it hasn't done like, I mean, I don't think it's done too terribly well, is it? Like sales wise, it would appear not, but it's like an Epic Store exclusive. So obviously if it's on Steam, you arguably would have done better. No physical version now.
Can't get it on my Steam Deck without really messing around.
Yeah, shame. I mean, we crowned it our game of the year, mostly because I played it, and still and loved it. So I would want more people to see it and play it and enjoy it. And I think it's really, really clever, all the stuff it does. But yeah, I don't think enough people played it. So we want it on like Steam and as many platforms as possible, so people get to see how clever and awesome it really is.
So is their next thing going to be Control 2 or something? Have they announced what they're moving on to next?
I think they've got a few projects. Yeah, Control 2 is one of them. There's like a multiplayer game they're working on. So yeah, Remedy are doing a bunch of stuff. They're also working on the Max Payne remake as well.
Oh yeah.
Which will be awesome because I love the first one. I didn't really bother playing them after that. I didn't play. What was it? Which Max Payne was it with all like the Hawaiian shirts? Was that Max Payne 3?
That was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played that. The first one, was so iconic on PC, and I loved that. But so I'll be really excited to see what they do with that. And more Control will be good, even though Control kind of frustrated me by the end, and I just turned it down so easy and had a much better time with that. But again, I love the universe they've created, and I just think it's really, really clever and really interesting. So excited for whatever they do next. And when maybe the next DLC from Alan Wake 2 will also be maybe a bit more in depth, because this one, pretty quick.
Because this one, the Night Spring stuff. So is it story wise? Is it totally removed from the main game, or is it still sort of? I know it's obviously it's the same characters and it's the show in the in-universe show, but is it pretending to be part of the main story in any way?
No, these really are totally standalone. I mean, like I I thought, oh, great, because my save on Alan Wake, it'd be interesting to see what it does to the game. But then I realised I play Alan Wake on PlayStation and I was playing this on Xbox. But it said, hey, when you're playing this,
It'd be
remember.
fucking amazing if you picked up on it.
Yeah, I was like, why hasn't it got my save file from a different system? But it said, yeah, you know, like it says they recommend playing the full game, but basically only to understand the mechanics involved. Like you use like the flashlight mechanic in one of them and this and that. But no, these are totally separate, totally kind of on their own standalone little kind of stories, really. Little being the operative word, but yeah, it's still fun being back in that universe, even if there wasn't much in there for me.
Okay, all right. And Pete, before we go on to Sean, you have got well, you've written "cruise for a fucking corpse," but I did
Yeah.
Google it before you come on.
Yeah, there was
and,
no fucking in the rest. That was the French release.
Cruise for a corpse. I'd never heard of this, and
No.
it's no. Oh god,
It's one
that
it's
sound
it's
didn't
it's one
sound
of
good.
those it's one of those. I was you know, I was always a big graphic adventure fan, and back in the day I obviously had loads of games that I never got finished, and Cruise for a Corpse was one of them, and it was basically like a ship, a cruise, a cruising ships, kind of like Poirot. Someone's murdered on the ship, and you've got to figure out who did it, kind of who done it. And there are some, I think it's infograms, or Delphine, a French company doing it, and it's and it's all I talk about recently because I'm just in this kind of like ship of lost souls, walking around hour after hour, just asking the same questions, the same people, to unlock the next part of the story. But I don't know whether it's a bug, and that's what I'm telling myself. In the back of my head, I'm thinking maybe this is a bug, but I'm just going hour after hour, just walking around the ship going, do you want to talk about your mum for a bit? And it's been like that since a year ago. And I keep going back to it. I'm like, I just need to click on something that makes the game time go forward, and it's really making me sad. But I can't
Is there
possibly
not a
cheat
guide
because there
or
won't be
a-
like, of course there is, and I could do it in a second. But you know, you got to stand for something. You got to stand for something. You got to make your life absolutely miserable for the sake of it. But yeah, it's
Oh god, I'm
it's
looking at a
miserable game.
copy of this on eBay. 5 floppy disks. It's got. Oh my god, I love this so much. I need to try it. Is it not worth trying then? Because I
Oh,
really
you know,
want to play
it's a
this.
lovely bit of work. Is it the same, would it have been the same people who did like Flashback and stuff? Released Flashback back in the day? I can't remember.
Delphine,
But
maybe, yeah.
yeah, but
Delphine,
it was
yeah.
certainly a good looking, beautifully animated and well put together thing. It was kind of like a spiritual, original. Do you remember The Last Express? That
I was
kind
just
of like
thinking
about that.
rotoscope
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a little bit like that, and I think it was what that eventually became that sort of genre. And I loved animation when I was a kid, and it's kind of almost vector drawn, and the backgrounds are kind of watercolored and stuff. And it's a real stunner. Maybe I could make my life more miserable by doing it with 5 floppy disks, though.
That does sound fun.
That'll be good.
Did you ever
But,
play?
Box art is amazing.
Do you ever play Obra Dinn, Pete?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't play Obra Dinn, and that's one of those ones on my list where I sort of go, "Why are you not playing that instead of playing
Yeah.
Crystal Gold?" You can play it on literally anything, and the artwork looks incredible, and the style that you put it down. I mean, you don't see anybody doing that sort of EGA, CGA kind of style anyway. I don't know why nobody's picked that up. And yeah, and there's real Welsh people in it, I think, isn't there? Obra Dinn,
Yeah,
that was
I
the
mean,
big
I never
UFL
finished that
at
because
one
it got a
point.
bit difficult for me. But that was
Right.
absolutely stunning. Like, yeah, the artwork, like, it's so clever with
Yeah,
all the the time stuff
yeah.
and trying to figure out what happened. But yeah, I see this and think, well, Obra Dinn. But
I
Is it
enjoyed. I also played on holiday. What's that? Is it called Viewpoint or something? Where you're you've got a
Viewfinder?
camera.
Oh,
Viewfinder.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
that
a
fucking
fun
game?
little romp.
I love
Yeah,
that
that's
game.
great, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
that's
lovely.
that's a cracking game. I'm looking at a copy of Cruise for a Corpse on eBay at the moment. It's listed for £550, and
whoa,
on the front of the
Chancer.
box it has a sticker that says RRP 14.99, and I think I
Right.
might send them a message after this and say, "Hello, I'm a little confused. You say it's £550, but on the box it says RRP
You're not going to do the
14.99.
thing where like,
Which is it, please?
legally you have to sell it for the price marked on the box. You
Yeah.
have to sell it to me for that.
And you will take a Scottish tenner, thank you. I'm really surprised that like big box PC like adventure games, like even like Kix XL budget titles, still. There's still a decent amount of money on eBay and stuff. Like people still expect a bit of money, and I do think that rich people just have enough for storage. Just have enough space to store stuff.
Yeah.
I threw all my stuff away because I was going to university, and I knew my mum and dad would throw them in the bin if I didn't sell them on whatever it was, Gumtree back then. But I never realised that big box video games. I think I've got a copy of Gabriel Knight 2. Or Gabriel Knight 3, whichever one was the terrible FMV one. I've got one of them kicking around, and that'll be my children's university fund.
I do miss the big PC boxes.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously
I would have to store them, and that would become a problem as an
Yeah,
adult.
they'd
but-
get damp.
Yeah,
Somehow
yeah,
get damp.
yeah.
The cord wheels would get damp, and I
You'd
wouldn't be
open
able
it
to
up
load
and
This
them
has
be
got a code
spiders
wheel
in
on
it.
it. This has got a code wheel on it, and I don't know if it's for the game or for the protection against piracy. I can't work out what if there's a
I think there is a
puzzle
there is a
in the
little
game.
bit at the start. Yeah, I think there is something at the start that looks like a bit of copy protection that's been circumvented.
Oh
by
right,
whatever-
it's that one then.
Whatever
Oh, that's a shame.
rotten little
How you-
DOS box version I've got
Yeah, what are you playing it on? How are you playing
on the
it?
Mac,
You...
on a little DOS box on a Mac. It's lovely. I've gone back and downloaded a load of like real C-rate graphic adventures that nobody remembers, like Curse of Enchantia and Tales of Creandia and stuff like that. Stuff that like you had your Sierra, then you had your LucasArts, then you had
Tales
some
of
actual
Kyrandia, is that-
stinkers. Yeah, Kyrandia.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
had a friend of mine once came when we were teenagers. Like came around my house. Says, "Oh, I bought it. It was Kyrandia 3, and it was the one where you play as the villain." But it turns out he was sort of
Yes,
misunderstood.
that's the
or
second
something.
one, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that the second one? Okay.
I think
And
that's
I
the
just
second
remember
one, I
there
dunno.
being these bits where you would get arrested, and there would be
Right.
like a prison set. This would be like you'd have to perform a task in prison to get out, but you would just have to do these really boring things like 50 times. All right, click that. Okay, now click that. Now click that. Operate a bit of machinery or something, and it was like
Make a
I see
license
what you were-
plate.
Yeah, I was like, I see what you were trying to do here, but it's fucking boring.
It's like that Penn and Teller game where you got to drive
Yeah,
forever.
Desert Boss. Yeah.
The game that I remember from that period, we had it at the Atari STE called The Crystal. And
Ooh.
I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but it has an intro with Patrick Moore talking. And the thing that made it different from most other action adventure games, like adventure games like that, was that you could type anything you wanted in. And it very rarely understood what you said. Like
Yeah.
you go up to a character and go, "Oh yeah, where are you off to?" And they go, "I don't understand that." Like that happened a lot in that game because you had to speak in a very specific language.
Yeah.
You could write "fuck," and they would go, "Oh, that's rude."
That's
like,
out of
"Oh,
order, yeah.
that was the
The
first
first thing you do. But like the early Sierra games were not point and click. They were there was to a certain extent point and click, but the first Leisure Suit Larry, the first Police Quest, Space Quest, all those ones, you would have to type into a text box, like, and that,
Yeah, right.
God, that ground your gaze. It really
Yeah,
did.
move
The only one I
left.
ever got
Yeah,
through. Yeah.
That have you ever
It's-
played Starship Titanic?
Oh, which one's that one? Is that like?
It's a Douglas Adams joint.
Yes. Oh, it
shortly
was like a
before he
kind of
died.
seventh guest, not seventh guest, like it was like a mist kind of thing.
Yeah.
walking around. Yeah.
I streamed it a while back. It's an interesting one to go back to, and it is still like pleasantly
Stands up a
atmospheric
bit.
and quite funny. But yeah, that was another thing where it was So what the main selling point of it was like you would talk to characters, but you can type in anything you want and it will understand you. Honestly, it will. It just didn't really work, sadly.
The thing that really got me was the Crystal introduced me to the concept of hippies. Because it was set like on another planet, so why there was, but you were like this. I don't know. You were like this warrior that was traveling across like this. I think it was supposed to be a little bit like Star Wars because there was lots of like sword fighting in it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then one bit there was this hippie that would just go say, and all they would say to you is, "You got to go with the flow, man." That really, I remember that character like I met him as a child. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so weird. That shit sticks in your head. I love games like that. And the box to this Cruise for a Corpse looks absolutely incredible. So it's someone that's been stabbed on a ship has been stabbed in the back and is leaning across a steering wheel, and inside the steering wheel there's images of a killer and a detective sort of doing a Doctor Evil style like
Yeah,
pose
maybe
with
if I had
his
the
finger.
box,
It's
this might
incredible.
help. Maybe the clues are on the box.
I'm doing my best to try and
Can
describe the
anyone let me
box to you.
500 knots?
Yeah, someone looks like Captain Birdseye in the background.
If it's on a boat, of course, that's
Oh,
what
there's
all
a, there's,
captains
there's,
are
there's
like.
a there's a comedy character who's like a French kind of like concierge slash sort of assistant. I said on another pod recently, but because I'm just Cruise for Cops crazy at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's this comic relief, and he's kind of like he's ripped weirdly, and he's always got his top off, but he's also a waiter, and he's kind of this French stupid character. And then at one point, he just cuts his character off by sort of saying, "Yes, and then I beat up my girlfriend," and it's just like,
Whoa!
whoa.
I was about to say,
And you're like,
come from?
and you're like, that is not. I mean, I know it was the '90s guys, but good God, I mean, it was a real clunker, and there was nothing that good that came out of it, or interesting, or his character didn't change. He just gleefully said that he was in prison because he beat up his partner. It's astonishing.
Brilliant.
My word.
There's no
Well, I think I
cats
won
in
players
back
game
then,
now.
was there? You can't get games like that anymore, can you, Matt?
No, because
You
of
can if
you
you
know
got
why?
500 quid.
Love a woke.
Because of woke. Yeah.
It's well.
Okay. Okay, sure. What have
Hello.
you been playing?
Oh, I've been playing loads of things. The main one I want to talk about is Mullet Mad Jack. Right.
Oh yeah.
Which came out on Steam a few weeks back. It came out at the same time as another game called Celico, and they both came out, and you could buy them as like a double pack. And I mean, Celico's great, but it's early access and it still needs a bit of work. Celico's really impressive because it's made using GZ Doom, the modified Doom engine, and you would not tell. looking at it.
Amazing. It's
Like,
an
it's-
amazing achievement. Wow.
Yeah. Really impressive. But yeah, buying Celico and Mullet Mad Jack as a double pack, I've spent way more time with Mullet Mad Jack. It's a first person shooter. And it's very like when I was a teenager, I used to stay up too late watching shit anime films on the Sci-Fi Channel, right? And it was all really bad, sort of low budget, sort of early '90s stuff, like hyper violent and probably really not appropriate because I was still like 14, 15 at this point. Mullet Mad Jack really like goes in on that sort of style, like visually and sort well. Aesthetically in general, it reminds me a lot of Paradise Killer, actually. But it's a very different game. It's a first-person shooter, but where you are, it's a very thinly veiled critique of where we're currently heading technology-wise and gawping at our phones and only having an attention span of 10 seconds. Because that is literally how this game works. Is you have 10 seconds before you run out of dopamine and you die, right? And the only way to top that up is by killing enemies and drinking soda. And that is all you're doing. You are just charging through these environments, just gunning the fuck out of all these robots and stabbing them, kicking them into things, and just sprinting to the exit of every level. Because if you go more than 10 seconds without killing something, you die and you lose. And you start that you're going up floors of like a tower, right?
This is like Crank.
Yeah, basically. It's absolutely phenomenal. I often find, with games that are like supposed to be like flow state games, I'm often too shit at them, and I'm sort of like I'll miss an enemy and like, oh fuck, that's fucked up. Like how I was going to clear this room now, and like I'm just completely throwing me off or whatever. This doesn't this isn't easy by any means. It takes a little while to sort of dial into it. But just the feeling of just sprinting through it. And just killing everything, and then there's little sort of platform bits, there's like pits that you can fall into, there's like acid on the floor you've got to dodge, stuff like that.
You left that out.
But it just, I know, it's rude, isn't it? Careless.
It's careless.
And it's just astonishing. Like just have a look at some footage of it when you get a chance. It looks unbelievable. Just this really bold art style. And as I say, it's just really nicely tuned for, like, you almost never like have to stop and turn around, right? You are just constantly running forwards the entire time. There'll be rooms where it's just like a massive slide that you're just going down and sort of shooting robots as you go or kicking them or whatever. Like it's beautiful. It's so well done. I really hope it comes to consoles because it deserves it. Funnily enough, given the discussion we've just had, it has a virtual unboxing thing in the option. If you go into the options, it's like, oh yeah, so back in the day, you used to be able to actually buy games, and this is what it was like. And there's like this box on the screen, and you can like open it and like get the manual out and stuff, and like read through the manual. And it's just clearly just a lot of care has been put into it. Really good.
Going to the toilet at work and read it. Wish that it was 5 o'clock already and that you could go home and play the game.
Imagine
Holy
what it
shit.
might be like to play it when you actually go home. The other game I've been playing, so I've revisited Bonelab, the VR shooter / physics sort of playground. So this was the sequel to Boneworks. This came out on the Quest and PC 2 years ago, I think. And Boneworks, the first game, was really well known. Like, it had a really vibrant modding community, and there was loads going on, people doing all sorts of mad stuff with it. Bonelab came out, and I forget why, but apparently the modding tools were just not up to scratch for some reason or another, and the community was really disappointed with it. And there was just like silence for. I mean, there was a few patches, but then the dev team just appeared to sort of go completely silent on it. So about 2 weeks ago, they finally put out a patch, and the modding is fine now. Like, it's completely fixed. There's like performance updates. There's like loads and loads of tiny changes that are supposed to add up to it being just a more sort of fluid experience in general. You know,
Is this the thing, Sean, that I was talking to you about when my nephew was like, "Oh, they got Halo in VR now." Look, I mean Halo.
No,
and I was like,
that'll be. Oh fuck! Which one is that, Matt?
That's like flat to VR UEFR, where they can basically VR any.
Oh yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
You just said a bunch of letters. Then I didn't understand a word of it. What was that?
Well, they're these tools called like flat to VR. I think it's the company, but the service or the thing is called UEFR, and basically people are using that to basically make almost any 2D,
It's
flat
crazy.
screen.
He
It's
said,
Unreal
"Oh,
Engine stuff,
now I'm
isn't
in
it?
Call of
So, yeah,
Duty," and he was in Call of Duty, and the fucking the Halo one, it looked like it was Halo, and the
yeah,
levels
so I think
from
they're
Halo.
I think they're mods for, I can't remember. There's a VR shooter. It might be Contractors or one of those. But yeah, it's very heavily moddable. So no, that's something else. But yeah. Basically, yeah. So what has actually happened with Bonelab is, as I say, I've downloaded it again, being like, oh cool, I'm gonna mod the fuck out of it and see what's up. I've just been playing through the campaign again because it didn't. I thought the quest had cloud saves. I'm pretty sure it does.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. But in this instance, it doesn't seem to have worked. There is a mod you can download that just unlocks everything. But I was like, nah, do you know what? I'll re-familiarize myself with the campaign. The campaign is so fucking weird. I'd forgotten quite how weird it is. You start the game and you do this intro where you're about to be hanged, and you have to like literally. I mean, trigger warning. You have to put your head through a noose, right? And
that's awful.
Yeah. But you escape, and then you. You go through this, there's this little sequence where it's like a medieval setting, and then you sort of escape that into like this sort of office, and then you eventually end up in like the hub area where it's like right, there's all these different doorways. One's like a parkour section, one's like a melee combat arena, one's for mods, and one's for like so there's all these different areas, and you're like, okay, this is quite strange, and the game just kind of tells you like just have a look at them, play around with them, right? And initially you're like, is this can't be it, right? This can't be the game. As you go in each of these doors and try one of these modes, and you're like, right, okay, that was quite fun. I'll go back to the hub area now. That then unlocks. There'll be like an energy orb like above the door that you went through to get the thing you just did, right?
Yeah.
And then in the hub area, there is a massive. There's like a crane game, basically. You find this control panel where you can move this crane around, pick up these energy orbs, and then drop them in this big machine, which then unlocks a door, which unlocks the campaign, like the actual campaign. And then that becomes this whole sequence where you're like unlocking these different body types. And it's fascinating how the human brain will just like, so there's like different body types that are suitable for different things. So like one's faster, one's really strong, but then like one's like huge, right? It's like physically big and it's good for lifting and carrying stuff. One's really, yeah, that's Dave. One's
body
really
type.
one's really tall and spindly, and like really good at climbing and getting around and stuff. And it's so weird how the human brain can just accept that, right? Because
you're big now.
yeah, like you change your body type, and you're holding your arms out, obviously in real life, and it's being reflected as this much longer pair of arms in the game, and your brain's just like, yep, those are my arms now.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
It's
considering
so
I've had
surreal.
the same sort of slightly plump body shape my whole life. So adjusting to a different one seems like it should be it should be quite a hard thing to do.
I like video games. It must be the only kind of like sort of artistic discipline that can just hide a campaign away behind something. You've got to work to get the game effectively. It's
yeah, and they
really
just
is.
trust that you will just be like,
Yeah.
well, this can't be it,
persevere.
right?
Yeah.
This can't be. And yeah, so then you unlock all these body types, and then there's this whole sort of hour-long, I think it's about an hour, like sequence where you're going through all these different challenges where you're like, right, now I need to be like the strong guy, now I need to be the tall, spindly guy, now I need to be fast, and so you just like you got this little thing on your wrist where you're choosing these different body types as you go. It's fucking great. It's so good. So I haven't
watching
even
the
delved
footage
into
now.
the
It's
mods.
incredible.
Sorry,
I'm watching the footage now. I've not played a lot of VR because I used to get quite motion sick with it. But this is the sort of thing that's happening in this footage here is very much the promise that was sold to me with VR, because it's just titting about, just able to just tit about. Love it.
Yeah, so I've not actually delved into the mod stuff yet, but I've downloaded lightsabers and a LeBron James avatar. So that's
It's
going to
got
be
all the essentials.
Good.
Yeah. So that's all I need really.
It's all working.
So yeah, I've been
think
really
for me-
enjoying revisiting that.
For me, I think the first time I looked at a VR game and went, "Oh, this is what VR games should do," is that virtual reality.
Yeah.
That was the one where it was like, "Holy shit!" Like, that's what I want. I don't want things coming up to my face and going there out of nowhere. Like, I don't want that in VR
It
at
does
all.
have head crabs, but they're but it's this is what's interesting though is they jump on your face, but what they do so they do hurt
That's
you a
interesting.
bit, but rather like the Half-Life ones, they're just trying to eat your face, right? So they're not like that.
Yeah.
Basically, the underside of the head crab is like a projection of a room. So it doesn't hurt you, but it jumps on your face, and suddenly you're just like, oh, I'm just like looking at a empty room, and you have to like grab it and pull it off. So and then if you're holding a gun, you're just like just punching it.
But Sean, it's the idea that it's not what it looks like when it's on. It's the fact that it's flying at my face that I
that's
can't
fair.
handle with VR. I
Yeah, but
fucking
you
hate
can just
stuff
grab
like
a
that.
chair or something and just be like, fuck off.
But like doing things like having like a kind of a spiky thing on a stick, you're just mashing into like a barrel or something, and then the barrel becoming stuck because the because the spike has gone into the barrel. I mean, it's just stuff like that where you just think, oh god, this looks great. I have no way of playing
And
it.
again, it's so weird how stuff like that happens, and obviously there's no physical resistance to you pulling that back up, but because your brain is seeing that it's stuck, your brain's just like, oh well, I can't. You're straining for no reason. It's fascinating.
You turn into a real life mime.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on? You stand in front of a window and you're sort of doing the old moves.
Big fan of this.
But that does sound good.
Yeah, speaking of sandbox, you played Blade and Sorcery, didn't you, Sean?
Yes.
Like today,
terrifying
they've
game.
announced a massive like 1.0 update. There's like a massive
shit, have they?
campaign now.
Oh, that game.
Or I'm not sure if like there wasn't before, but there is like now a 7 or 10 hour campaign. I'm not sure if that's just been added today or been updated, but yeah, today is like the 1.0 update's out. So
amazing.
if you liked it before, you'll
I mean,
probably
that
love it
game
now.
is amazing, but God, you learned some stuff about what you're capable of.
Stabbing.
It just turns out that if you're in a knife fight with someone who is trying to kill you, you'll do horrible things to avoid getting killed. It's awful.
Like running away.
Yeah, run away, or grab them and poke their eyes out, or just it's horrible.
Okay.
On that note,
Yeah, let's move off of that.
did you not watch any? Did you not watch any of my Blade and Sorcery streams?
I
that
did, mate, and I'm also looking at how much you're smiling, recalling what you were doing in that game. So I'm slightly concerned about your state at the
Licking his
moment.
lips.
It sounds like you should go back now as a
Truly.
campaign, Sean.
I absolutely will. Yeah, that'd be a really fun stream as well.
Fully erect. Have you played anything else, Sean?
Yes, I've got a couple of short ones. So it's been Steam Next Fest this week. I mean, I played loads of stuff, but obviously we haven't got all
remind me,
night.
what is Steam Next Fest? What's the idea behind Steam Next Fest? Like, what is
Just
it trying to do?
basically, the devs are all encouraged to get a demo up and get featured in the Steam Next Fest bit of the store, and it's just usually just a really good time to try loads of stuff out. Main one is I played the demo of Blueprints, which I didn't really know what the hook of this was. I'd just seen trailers. I was like, it's a bit escape roomy, so I'm in.
Right.
I can't remember the last time I played. Usually if a demo for a game is good, you play it for as long as you can because the game isn't out yet, right? This is one where I played a bit of it and I was like, oh, no, I want to save this. I'm not going to play
That's
the
the
demo
best.
anymore because I don't
yeah.
like. Presumably my progress isn't going to carry through, so I just like, no, I'm fine. I get it. I'm happy, and I'll see you when the game is out. You basically the setup is you've inherited this mansion off your mad old uncle who is now dead, and he's like, right, you inherit the mansion if you find, I think it's like the 46th room. There's 45 rooms, but there is a secret hidden room in the mansion. Find that, and you can keep the place. You can't stay in it. You have to camp outside overnight.
Why would you
day.
do this to your nephew?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
why
a
would
bit-
you do
Well,
this?
he's very, he writes you this letter, and he's like, I'm only making you do this because I know you can do it. Which, I mean, still seems like a weird justification, but whatever.
Just to get him out of the house, I reckon. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
get off that
Work for it.
Fortnite. Here's something else you can do if you want the house.
And yeah, basically the trick is every day you walk into the mansion, and then every door you walk through, you choose like one of 3 rooms, and it's like, right, so you're gonna walk through here, and there could be a kitchen or a bedroom or a fucking toilet. So every day you are building the house again effectively from scratch. And it's like, oh, it changes
Right.
every day. You'll get lost, and even
Yeah.
the people who work here don't know how to get around. Fine, right? So you can walk a certain distance every day. If you find like a kitchen, there'll be food in it, and then you can walk a bit further, and then so you keep exploring this house, keep adding rooms to it. And then there'll be puzzles where it's like, right, there's something buried here. I need a shovel. So then you sort of navigating elsewhere, and then you're trying to like create like a garden or something, right? So there'll be a shovel, then you grab that and go back to it. So there's like puzzles where you're trying to create certain sort of arrangements of rooms to get the items you need to do the stuff you need to do. And then basically every day you run out of steps, and then you camp outside, and then the following morning the whole house is reset and you start again. I absolutely love this. I'm really excited to play the full game.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
a
very
terrible
cool.
way of leaving your estate to your loved ones.
Yeah.
Did Ian ever tell you what he tried to do in his will?
No.
he was going to leave everything to his kids, but he wanted to put in the will that they had to spend the night in a haunted house together. And apparently the lawyer said you can't legally make them do that. However, we can put it in the covering note, and they don't have to know that it's not legally binding. That's the way I do it. That's what I'm going to do. Cool.
Last
what
one,
else?
Very quickly, played the demo of Thank Goodness You're Here.
Right.
Oh,
I
big
hadn't heard of
Gamescom
this.
trailer.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Huge.
Very funny and charming trailer. Very funny and charming game. Not much of a game though. Thank God it is funny and charming, because there's not. You kind of just walk around, and your only interaction is to like punch things, which either makes people talk to you, or if it's like something in the environment, you'll just sort of put a dent in it, and then that's kind of it. And there's some very, very, very light platforming. But I did have a pleasant time playing it. There's just part of me was like, could this have just been a cartoon though? Like a genuinely, like I say, it's genuinely funny and really charming. I can't remember what the setup is. You're like a salesman, and you've been dispatched to some like weird town in the north of England, and you sort of get there, and there's a man with his arm stuck down a sewer grate, and the bakery's shut because no one can get the door open, because the locksmith is in the pub and you need to get the locksmith out of the pub. Just sort of, it's a bit point and clicky, but where you've got direct control over this character and you're running and jumping around.
Very British.
Very British indeed. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Just as I say, I don't think there's going to be any like taxing gameplay in it, but maybe that's fine, and that's enough.
It's got a good voice cast, isn't it? Is it?
It has, Logs in it. John Blythe, and other people I like whose names
Matt Berry?
I've forgotten. Who? Sorry.
Matt
God,
Berry?
yeah, Matt Berry's in it. Yeah.
Or is it the guy who sounds like Matt Berry again?
Well, no, it's definitely actually Matt Berry, I believe. Yeah. Because I remember, because Log was tweeting, he was like, "Yeah, I've been like telling people, hi, I'm in this game. That's really cool that I'm in this game," and then finding out he's actually alongside Matt Berry, and everyone's going, "Oh my God, Matt Berry's in it." But, yeah.
Cool. I think that's out August the 1st, right? So I don't think I want, based on what you've said about that game, I don't really want to play a demo of it because it feels like it will spoil a big
May as
part
well
of that
wait.
game. So fuck
Yeah.
that. I will, and that is what we've been playing this week. Should we finish up with a couple of questions and get out of
We've
here?
only got a
Yes.
couple of questions. If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/Dear TCGS. Maria Mendieta says, "Dear TCGS Continental Breakfasts, hearing Matt classify himself as the hard man of podcasting planted the image of him as a Streets of Rage 2 character wielding a Blue Yeti as a weapon. While I was lost in reverie, a question about brawlers also came to mind. Why is the audible enjoyment of pain, having characters yell in ecstasy when they are hit, not a thing in gaming? If the masocore genre exists, I say give sadomasochism a spotlight in games. Keep up the tremendous work. Sincerely, Maria."
It must do, right? There's definitely wasn't that in Bully? Wasn't there a character
Was
in
that a thing in
Bully that
Bully?
liked being hit? Yeah, I think so. It really rings a bell. And I've been
There
thinking a
was-
lot about Bully recently.
Do you remember Thrill Kill?
No.
Was that the thing that got banned?
Yeah,
Or
well, it never
Yeah.
came out. I don't think it got banned. I think they just abandoned development. Well, didn't it? It became that Wu-Tang game, right? I think they used the
oh,
engine.
did it? Okay.
Because I remember, yeah, they were like, well, look, we can't release this game, Thrill Kill, but actually it's a pretty good fighting engine. So yeah, it became Wu-Tang Taste the Pain, I believe. But yeah, it was this. It never actually came out, but it was this PlayStation game where it was like a 3D sort of arena fighting game, and yeah, it's like, oh, one of the characters is like a dominatrix, and she gets off on being attacked. Which, I mean, even saying that out loud is,
Yeah, I know, yeah. It
Can't
kind
see
of
why
makes
more
you go,
games
yeah,
don't
you can see why Thrill
do
Kill got
this.
canned there. Can't you? I was thinking, what was that? What was the game? I was thinking about the other. Do you remember Kingpin?
yeah.
That Cypress
Mm.
Hill was
Prime.
all over that.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I played that through to completion. That game.
Everyone
Did
had
you?
like wiggly skin, didn't they?
They
King-
did.
Yes.
They had like
Yeah,
wobbly wibbly skin for some reason.
Yeah.
They sort of went, we can wibble, we can wobble, let's do it. And they, instead of
in.
thinking, that looks mental, why are you doing this?
So realistic.
What
So
I
kind of
remember
real-
like
everyone's
all the
wibbly
previews
skin.
being like, oh, it's like because Cypress Hill are in it, it's completely like legit. Like as if that
Yes.
it's like they clearly just paid to license some tracks. It's not like it wasn't an
Man, that game-
endorsement.
That game came out way later than I thought it would have.
Was
That
it ID or something?
1999.
Who was id?
I don't think
3D
it was,
Realms?
I don't think it was id, but it was
Pretty
it
Realms,
ran on
right,
Quake
yes,
2
of
engine.
course,
I think,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking it up now. What came out first, that or Soldier of Fortune? Because they
Soldier
feel
Fortune
like
was a naughty one, wasn't it? You could
That was
blow
annoying.
everyone's
Yeah.
faces off, yeah.
fucking
I
love
always
that shit
remember,
so much.
I think it was PC Zone had a preview of Soldier of Fortune where they were like, one of the developers has become obsessed with showing me that like you can shoot someone's glasses off without injuring them if you get the angle right and you just
Right.
shoot like the frame. And he's like, but he's tried to do it like 20 times and he keeps just shooting the guy in the head and going, no, I promise I can do it.
I remember playing a demo of that over and over and over again. I was obsessed with Soldier of Fortune, which is quite worrying for everyone in my family, I think.
Well, we were too young to know. Like, obviously it was violent and that just seemed cool. But like, wasn't it like politically really dodgy as well? It was like,
Oh, was it
borderline
really? I didn't know
just
that. Oh,
proper-
don't ruin my youth, Sean. Stop fucking
We're
bringing
already saying
politics
it's
into
shit. I'm
14-year-old.
just-
It was the age, wasn't it the age, it wasn't it around the time like 24 came out and stuff, and that was that around that time, or
Right,
am I
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of
yeah.
Boiling Point? That
Oh,
one.
maybe.
Boiling Point.
Classic.
The broken,
Yeah.
the classic.
That era of
broken.
gaming, man. I love that
I was
shit.
obsessed with that because it had the baddie out of 24 in Boiling Point, and
Did it?
it was broken. Everything was there was sound files that would like swapped over. Grannies would scream like men would scream like grannies. It was atrociously messed up when it got
Was that
released.
the one where there was like the first patch was like the funniest patch notes you've ever seen?
Yeah, because
It was
they had so much wrong with it,
Yeah.
but they'd spent days just making the moon the right size.
Yeah, wasn't it something like the patch note was like it's like things we've patched. It's like shooting
Yeah.
the moon no longer causes it to disappear or something. Like
Oh,
that.
No,
is
I think
I
that was
remember
Grand Theft Auto. I
Yeah,
think Grand
'cause
Theft Auto-
the moon
Grand
got
Theft Auto
bigger.
was-
Yeah, you could
Yeah,
change
yeah.
the size of the moon, couldn't you? by
Yeah.
shooting
Yeah.
it? Yeah, and
because
turned
it
out
was
that the
inaccurate, and you're like,
devs
guys,
were
there's
testing
so much more wrong with this game.
Yeah.
Sort it out.
You're right though, Sean. Soldier of Fortune. I've just looked it up. The main character is Nigel Farage. So
Cool.
you're right. Questionable politics back then. What's the last question,
The
Sean?
last question comes from MD Krabuff, who says, "What was your favourite subject at school, and what would you like to learn now?"
I wish it was PE because that makes me sound like I was more active. than
Yeah,
I
it was the bleep test.
I won the bleep test one year. Right,
Did
this
you?
is true. Yes, I
No
won
one won the
bleep
bleep
test one
test.
year. I won the fucking
Apart
bleep
from the
test,
PE
boy.
teacher.
No,
The
I
bleep
won.
on the bleep test.
They're not supposed to take part, Matt.
Oh, yeah, but you always had show off PE teachers, didn't you?
So I won the bleep test, right? And everyone was cheering. And when I won, it all went quiet. And the guy that finished second went, "Oh God, I've got to stop smoking." And everyone just thought he was great. And I was like, "Oh fuck off! I just beat him at the bleep test. I know I'm not the coolest person in the school, but give me something, cat."
And that was
one
in
of the
year
greatest achievements. Greatest subjects at school. I don't know if I had one, man.
I just remember
was
one of my PE teachers knocked out a student.
Wow.
Yes.
And
For
you know
winning
what?
the bleep
Men on the
test.
And
edge.
you know what? The student fucking deserved it.
Oh, really? What happened? What's the story? Sure, you got to tell us
he
the story.
called the teacher something I can't repeat on the show.
We'll just bleep it, can we? Oh, right. Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the teacher just fucking knocked him out.
Wow. That must be one of the greatest days of the school ever.
He obviously did lose his job over it, which is less funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
What were we talking about?
It wasn't teachers knocking out
Favourite
kids, or
subject
vice
at
versa.
school? Oh, I don't know.
Mine was drama, actually, because those lessons were a joke. I mean, I did like acting and stuff like that as a kid. But when you went to drama class and it was like, everyone lay on your back and close your eyes. And today, and it was weird stuff like that. It was just, it was weird. And then suddenly you do improv stuff, which I'm pretty sure the teachers just thought it was fucking funny to make their own whose line is it anyway. It was just nowhere near as good. But I mean, it was an easy time for them. But yeah, you don't remember did you never do drama at school, Sean?
I did. I don't. No, I didn't do it as like a GCSE or anything. So I think I stopped in like year 8 or whatever.
It was always. I remember the one specifically where you had to lay on your back and close your eyes, and they were saying things like, "Oh, think about your feet now," and I'm like, "What?
Oh, doing
What's
that
this
weird
got
sort
to
of-
do with becoming an
Yeah.
actor? This is really fucking odd." Yeah, weird.
Well, I think
weird-
Leonardo
weird
DiCaprio
lessons.
famously does that before
Oh, does
every
he?
scene, so
Oh,
that's
fair
why
enough.
he's the best at what he does.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I was taking a piss, so I didn't really. Shit. What was yours, Matt?
Same answer for both questions, actually. Sex education.
Oh, Harry started that, and he
how's
came
that
over the
going?
other night, and he just went, "Yeah, my mate got kicked out because he was laughing so much." I was like, "Oh, mate, I don't blame him. It's fine.
I
You're
remember
only
when
10."
Teacher knocked him out.
when we
Teacher knocked one out.
first started.
Got fined either way.
And we were all told, like, right, basically, you've got 10 minutes. Write down every word you know for like genitals or just body stuff in general.
Wow.
And it's the hardest I've ever laughed in my life.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you
The
said
hardest
laughed in
you've
my
ever
life.
been. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I can't. Surely, like that is a teacher going to school just thinking, I've got a wicked idea to face this problem head on, and then just realising 2 minutes into it, nah, this hasn't worked.
Oh yeah,
This
completely derailed
hasn't
it. Well, it
worked.
was the thinking was like get it all out your system, and now we're actually going to learn stuff.
Yeah, this is like parents
Yeah.
forcing you to
Basically
smoke a whole
worked.
pack of cigarettes.
Yeah,
And you're like, actually, I love cigarettes now.
Yeah, I'm there like 6 years old. Like I don't like sex anymore. Actually, I've written all these words down, gone off it.
I've become the world's greatest erotica writer.
Yeah. I'm a humanosaurus.
I don't know what my actual favourite subject was, though. I don't think I really enjoyed any of them.
No, you're talking to people that didn't enjoy going to school. Pete, did you have a favourite subject?
Not really, just anything. I quite liked woodworking. Wasn't very good at it. Took half a finger off with a belt sander once.
Nice.
Oh,
Wow. I remember a teacher shouting, "Get your hand out of that sander!"
And you're like, what? I can't hear you, mate.
Can't hear me after over the sound of my arterial blood leaving my body.
Yeah, the bones.
screaming. Yeah. What did you have to make? I can't remember anything that I made. They called it DT.
Yeah, did.
Yeah.
Key rings
can't
in, like
remember,
if
that
you
was-
polish a lot of resin. I remember they had a real boner for resin, like plastic, and you'd have this kind of I think it was just like common on WD-40, and you'd just kind of polish it until it was shiny. It was atrocious, so boring.
Yeah, we used to. So we did graphics. So I think the GCSE was called graphics products.
Ooh.
And we were just like we just fuck around on the internet. That was the
You want to have a hotel?
yeah.
Look at these graphics.
Yeah.
No, we used to go on. So when MTV2 was just called M2, and I don't know if any of you remember this, you could like choose your own hour of music videos and then submit it, and then it might randomly get chosen. The chances were
nice.
tiny.
Okay.
So yeah, so we would just go on the IMAX and just be like, yeah, let's make some hours for M2, which will never get chosen. Good times.
Great graphics work.
Yeah, you could just make a YouTube playlist now, couldn't you?
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
what's the
school, we recently at work we had to list out all our names on something. I won't go into it, but everyone had their letters after their names with all their qualifications, and they're all like really long. And when you look at the column, it's really really long, and it gets to my name, and it's really like it's the only one without the letters on it after it. And my boss said there must be something we can put here, and I went put 5 GCSEs. And they went, no, we're not doing that. And I went, please just put, so it's all like Reba and ARB and all that sort of stuff. And it gets to me, David Turner, 5 GCSEs. Please just put, like, no one reads that shit anyway, and it will make me laugh hard. They refuse to do it, Sean. They refuse to do it.
You're an embarrassment.
That embarrassment. My company and my parents. Is that it for questions this week?
That is it for questions.
All right, Matt, let's get to the socials. Come on.
Yes. Shawnee streaming this week.
Nah.
Okay, no
You all
streams
right,
this
Matt?
week.
What's going on?
Yeah, is your voice all right, Matt?
Hey,
No,
Matt,
just-
you
I was
sound like a darts player from
Cracking
the
up
80s.
because of your
Nuts.
lack of streaming.
What's up, Matt?
No, nothing's up. No, it's fine. Okay, so
cool.
no streams this week, Sean.
Yeah, I feel like something's up though, Matt.
Well, no, I just had a bit of a frog in my throat. I mean, yeah,
Just
don't know
because
what
you
it
had
was.
a big night out on Saturday.
Probably, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, so no streams this week. James also. Oh, well, no, did he stream last week?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Let's assume no streams. It doesn't matter. If you've got Amazon Prime and a Twitch account, connect them. You get something called Twitch Prime Gaming. You get 1 free sub every month with that. And why not go to our channel and give us your free sub? We really, really appreciate it. If you miss the streams live, go to our YouTube channel, search TCGS on YouTube, and you can watch the VODs of the streams that we're not currently doing. We're on Patreon, which is patreon.com/TCGS to support what we're doing over here. Listen to the monthly exclusive bonus podcast. Our video show we do every month as well. And the website is tcgs.co for our store, our gorgeous Discord community, podcast socials, and everything else.
Pete Donaldson, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been lovely having you on.
Gives the login. I'll do some cruisy of the corpsey streaming. Come on.
Yes, okay.
Watch me walk around a ship for 3 hours. That'll get your subscription
I
screaming.
would
in.
generally love that.
You know, we like officially announced, we're welcoming Pete Donaldson to the team. Oh, the famous podcaster. What's he doing? Oh, he's streaming cruise for a fucking
He's
corpse.
just walking
Yeah.
around. He's walking around the showers in Police Quest for some reason. Yeah.
It might be a bug, it might not, we don't know. But it's done 74 hours of stream so far,
You'll
we're not
find
sure.
it.
Where can people find you, Pete? Where do you want to send our listeners?
Stack.London is where all of our podcasts can be found. STAK.London. And I'll be on the Football Ramble in about 10 hours.
Now, you sure it's not an evening
See,
show?
I did improv. See? Didn't
Yeah.
you have a watch on?
Love
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for living it, everyone. We will catch you next week. Who I think our special guest next week might be James Farley.
Oh, if we
Fingers
can get him.
crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers
That would be nice.
fucking crossed. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for living it. Goodbye, everybody.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye.